So last time we talked about the top layer of skin, the epidermis. The lowest part of the epidermis, that stratum basilae, sits on top of the next layer, called the dermis. They're connected by what's called the dermal epidermal junction, and this layer has a series of gel contact points that are kind of like glue, and they hold the two layers together. Injuries like burns or friction can break these contact points, and that can lead to blisters. The dermis is the thickest layer of the skin and is made mostly of connective tissue. The upper part has these peg or hook-like sections which help hold the layers above together. It looks kind of like Velcro. The dermis can look different depending where on the body you see it. In places like your palms or in the soles of your feet, you'll see ridges, your fingerprints for example, and you shouldn't see any hairs growing. This is called thick skin. The rest of the skin should be relatively smooth and have small hairs, and this is called thin skin. Either way, thick or thin, if you go below that, you'll find a network of collagen fibers. And this helps hold the skin in place. And there's inside that are stretchy yellow fibers, which allow the skin to recover and stay taut. It's the weakening of these fibers that actually cause wrinkles as we age. Inside the dermis, you can also find nerve endings, blood vessels, muscle fibers, hair follicles, sweat, and sebaceous glands, which are sweat glands. Some people may develop birthmarks, which is caused by a malformation of these structures, usually blood vessels. For the rest of this lecture, let's look at the different types of structures that you can find in the dermis. So first up, hair. Hair grows in a tube-like structure called a follicle, and it starts way down in the dermis from the hair papilla. The part of the hair that we see is called the shaft, and it can be moved by these small muscles inside the dermis called the erector pili muscles. In other mammals who have more hair, like a dog or a cat, the erector pili muscles can be used to lift the hair up and down, which creates air pockets and improves insulation. It also is used to make them look bigger. In people, these muscles just tell us if we're creeped out or nervous, goosebumps. Moving on, through the dermis, there are these nerve receptors, which allow the skin to sense what's going on around it. There's two primary receptors that affect our sense of touch. That's the tactile corpuscle, which handles light touch, and the lamellar corpuscle, which responds to deeper touch or pressure. On the end of our fingers and toes, we have nails, and these are made of solid keratin. So that's the stuff that replaces the cytoplasm in your cells in the epidermis. And they have a root and a body, which is a really large supply of blood flow. This is a really good place to assess patients for conditions like cyanosis, because there's so much blood going through there. The last thing we'll talk about in this lesson are the three types of sweat glands that are found in the skin. Eccrine glands are found all over the skin. They make this transparent and thin liquid, which we call sweat, that's odorless. So go outside and go for a run, or at your desk just do some jumping jacks. That water that you see on your forehead is eccrine. It's full of salts, and that liquid and salt helps cool us down, and it helps keep our skin moist and our pores clear. Apocrine glands are glands that you find in your armpits and your groin. Again, we call it sweat, but this is the type of sweat that stinks. So apocrine glands secrete a thicker type of secretion, and as bacteria breaks that down, that's where we get the odor that you'll associate with somebody who hasn't had a shower in a few days. Both eccrine and apocrine glands fall in the category of sudoriferous glands. Lastly, we have sebaceous glands, which are found all over the hair and skin. Its purpose is to keep the skin and hair moist. As teenagers, we produced excess sebum, which is the name of the oil that sebaceous glands make, and that led to acne, and in elderly people, we see a decrease in sebum, and that causes our skin and hair to become drier and crack more easily.